MLB The Show 25 is dropping another massive Legend and Flashback collection this Friday for a brand new 99 overall. Let's talk about it. Everything you need to know and get ready for with that new collection, so hopefully you can get them as soon as possible. There's 4 99s in the game. This will be a 5th. You're going to want this card. Leave a like down below. Subscribe to the channel. Let me know in the comment section who you would like to see be that new collection master. And let's get into it. So, it was a mere 5-6 weeks since we had our last big collection, of course, featuring 99 Scott Rowland as the collection boss. And if you remember, there was a lot that was needed in order to get him right away. It was essentially, if not everything, if you wanted to get that Scott Rowland day one. I mean, you had to get pretty much all the grinding done. So Cornerstone and whatnot, that had to be finished. The Jolt series, which was Team Affinity 1, getting 15 cards, that was required. And tons of stubs overall. Showzone has it priced at just shy of 2 million stubs, would have been required at the most part for Scott Rowland. Now, of course, a lot of people probably had some cards that were obtainable through the market. That price is looking at just essentially if you played all the programs, got the free stuff, didn't have the market stuff, you probably had similar cards, so it wasn't quite as expensive. But a big thing that always comes up in these collections that I, once again, really recommend you do is within all these collections, if you find these cards that are at or near quick sell value, buy them. There is no risk if you're buying them at or very near quick sell value. I guess very, very small risk if it is not quick sell value then. But it's likely to pretty much stay the same, at the same price, because these cards are needed for each collection. And that's what you can sort of expect here. For example, 16 cards of second half series were required to get Scott Rowland. That Voucher, one of the 18 necessary to unlock the 99. So you look at any given collection, we'll say standout here, they wanted 5 cards for this Scott Rowland Voucher. Well, you can expect now that there's more cards that were released, you're going to have to put more in to get the next Voucher. So there is, let's see, 6, 10, 14 standout cards. I would venture to guess, and if my memory serves correctly, you could only skip 1, maybe 2 cards in standout in particular when that first came out. I would imagine the same is going to be consistent this time around. So start looking at some of these cards like Cliff Lee. He's 12,000. He's an all right card. I mean, a 92 at this point probably is not going to be sitting at quick sell value. This is a more expensive headliner that probably retains its value. A card that I'm probably going to pick up. Him and Chris Taylor, they're sitting for about 11K, 12K each. I only expect these to rise come this content drop on Friday because the demand is going to be very high likely for a 99. Once again, one of the 5 that are out currently. So that goes for Cornerstone, Topps Now, Spotlight, All-Star, Veteran, literally every collection out here. You can imagine they're all going to count. It is just going to be more cards required. Although in cases where a card is the voucher, like the Leodalis DeVries, if you get this card, that is the voucher needed for Scott Rowland, as you see right here. I imagine that will stay the same. They only really change these things if there's more cards put into a collection. Obviously, there's not been more cards released in Spring Breakout. I would expect that voucher to remain Leodalis DeVries. And the new card collections that have came out since Scott Rowland, such as the Moonshot Byron Buxton, this is a card you could imagine will be a voucher. But remember, once again, you're probably going to be able to skip at least one. I would imagine that's the number. It was always the number back in like MLB The Show 22, MLB The Show 21 as well. You could skip 1 voucher. There was 19 on release. You only needed 18 for Rowland. Plan on one that you are going to skip, whichever's the most expensive for you. I could see that for a lot of people being pipeline past. You need the Kyle Schwarber to actually get Corey Seager. You've also got All-Star, which seems like it's going to be a pretty expensive one. because a lot of the cards in here are chase cards. You've got Acuna, Felix Bautista, Yordan Alvarez. You've got Chase Utley, Rafael Devers, Brian Reynolds. There's a lot of these cards. Rob Dibble. Half the chase cards that are out in this game, it seems, are all All-Star Series. But luckily, the new bosses are also all All-Star Series. And hopefully should help mitigate that a little bit. Again, I don't think you need every card, but you're going to need pretty much every card. But there's more to it than that. More than the Buxton, more than the Seager. I think they're going to create 2 new vouchers here. Milestone seems pretty clear that they're gearing up for this being one of them. There was one card, the Jordan Zimmerman, since launch, and now within the last update, 2 new ones have appeared, that being Adam Dunn and then this Grady Sizemore. I would bet with brand new World Series coming out on Tuesday, also new multiplayer program, we're going to see 2 cards there. There's probably going to be at least one more Milestone card coming out, and that is going to lead us to another voucher that could be expensive. Well, actually not really. I mean, Zimmerman is from the NL East. He's certainly cheaper than he once was, but you still need Soto, Lindor, Acuna to get that done. And then you need Adam Dunn throughout the XP path. Grady Sizemore might not be an awful time to buy him if you really are dead set on Milestone. I have him still for that reason. I picked him up from the Weekend Classic rewards, and I didn't sell him because I think the scarcity after this Weekend Classic is going to help propel his price up, especially alongside that demand if that Milestone voucher is created. I also think Award Series is pretty much a shoe-in because now at this point we've gotten 7 cards within awards, and there could be even more again with that Tuesday update. I probably don't have enough as it sits. This DJ the Mayhew is another card that I'm probably going to want to pick up. Just if that card can help me get across the finish, that's going to be helpful. And worst case scenario, I really don't see myself losing out on Stubbs here because he's 12K. For a 92 overall, I think you'll hold consistent. Jonah Heim, this is an interesting card to look at. When we get that new multiplayer program path, remember they always do those BR rewinds, and this time around Jonah Heim will be in there, but you won't actually have access to him until, I believe, the 2nd, maybe 3rd set of missions. So you're probably not going to see this card drop significantly in price from the near 100,000 he is until late June. And otherwise, you're looking at a very expensive Dennis Eckersley, 100,000 plus. You're looking at Jim Rice. The same could be said for him. Scott Rowland, who is the prior collection boss, Roger Clemens, who is the entire American League, and then Ted Simmons, who, of course, is the National League Central collection. So once again, the choice is yours in terms of what would you want to skip. I think All-Star, Awards, those are certainly going to be some of the more expensive ones. Even Standout, I could see that having a little bit more value. You know, Darren O'Day being a collection. You've got Posada, former Chase card, Springer, World Series, Renifo, of course, Battle Royale reward. And we also know we've got ourselves set up for another big collection coming, I assume, on Friday. Shout out to Scan. I think this was an email that they had sent out privying people to the new content coming this Friday. Scanny does the work for you with the red underline. Prepare for an all-new program, Diamond Quest event collection, and pack, of course, too, including some of the hottest players in an all-new 30-card series that are to help you beat the heat this summer, as well as the Legend of Flashback Collection 2. So you can plan on another one of those big, expensive collections that is sure to be a voucher, just like Buxton, just like Seager. That is going to really escalate the cost of this overall Legend and Flashback collection this Friday. I do just want to say briefly, not turn this video into a different video, but I'm old enough to remember a few years back when all the content we received was not based around collections. You know, think back to like MLB 21, where there was such a focus on those other programs, like the Tim Anderson program that we got, the Field of Dreams, how that was so cool. Well, Team Affinity was strong. We were getting new Team Affinity every month and a half with some cards that stood the test of time on people's teams. I would just like to see a little bit more focus around that sort of thing. Playable stuff to get cards and not, how many big, massive new card series collections can we possibly squeeze out where you get 4 cards in the program, 2 in the Diamond Quest, and 25 in the pack. Thank you. So that maybe impacts your decision on what voucher to skip. It's going to be very expensive. I imagine it is going to be a more expensive collection than Scott Rowland was, again, 5 or so weeks ago. One thing that you guys do want to get ready for, because we know how many cards you need for the Color Storm Team Affinity, this voucher is set at 15 cards. If you get 15 of these, you're going to be set. You're going to have this voucher, you're going to be ready to go, and you're going to have 1 out of 22, 23 vouchers guaranteed, ready to go off rip. I would also not be surprised if within this Jolt collection, the Team Affinity at the beginning of the game, that they increase the requirement and add another voucher here at 30 cards. So if you do not yet have all the Jolt series done, I would maybe look at doing so. I think there's a high chance that they do put that voucher in for 30. Otherwise, one more thing I do want to touch on is Topps Now and really any collection, but Topps Now and Spotlight are the 2 big ones, because these I was really far off of with the Scott Rowland. That was the biggest reason that I wasn't particularly close when he first came out, and it took me a little bit because I was not going to go buy every Topps Now card that they've released in packs ever since launch. No, they're not that expensive on a 1-card basis, but once you buy a bunch of them, then they really add up in price, of course. And there's obviously going to be more Topps Now cards that release. There's going to be a lot more Spotlight cards that release as well. You're going to be able to get not Scott Rowland, whoever it might be, Nick Punto, maybe he's the collection boss. You're going to be able to get whoever it is cheaper, possibly even for free, in due time. I think a lot of people have seen that with the Scott Rowland. He has gotten incredibly more easy to get. He's a lot more obtainable than he was at, 5-6 weeks ago. So if you take some time and just play what's out there, you don't have to worry about scrambling to get all the different Spotlight cards, all the different Topps Now, and most of these card series, which are going to have more releases out for free in due time. And that beckons the question, in what card are we going to receive? It's tough to say, obviously. I was kind of thinking Derek Jeter, but them releasing the 94, it's not going to be Derek Jeter, I'll promise you that. Shortstop was a thinner position. I thought, okay, here's a bigger name that they could go put in there. I don't know for sure if it's a new legend. Typically, if they have a new legend to release, they're going to tell you about it because they want everybody, oh my God, it's Barry Bonds. They want everybody to feed into the bait, of course, and then it winds up being like Joe Crady. So I'm not sure if it will be a new legend. I would love for it to be so, but if it is not, a couple guys I'm thinking of, maybe a Mike Trout. He's come back from injury. He's not quite looked like Mike Trout, even still. On the season, he's carrying like a 750 OPS. I hope he can come back and show that prime Mike Trout at some point, but I think it would be nice if he's going to get another downgrade on his live series to get a very, very good Mike Trout in the game. Obviously, one of the most enjoyed cards within Diamond Dynasty. Mike Trout has had a stranglehold within the mode ever since its inception. Trey Turner is another name that comes to mind. He doesn't really have much of a great, he is a low diamond live series, but now could be a really good time to put out a highly ticketed Trey Turner that could play a couple of different spots. That, of course, being another fan favorite for people. Or maybe we get a big legend who's currently in the game, like a Ted Williams or a Manny Ramirez. Of course, a couple of big names they brought back into this year's game. They also could be good picks for a big legend and flashback collection to pique people's interest and for SDS's sake, maybe get them to open up their wallets. But We'll see. Let me know in the comment section down below what you would like to see. What boss would you like to see at the face of this collection here? And do you think you are relatively set up for maybe completing it before 2026? If you guys enjoyed the video, leave a like down below, subscribe to the channel as always, and thank you so much for watching.